Welcome back, my friends, to the Full-Time Wedding Pro podcast. I know it's been a while, but we're back, my friends. So if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or watching this on YouTube, I am live right now in the Full-Time Wedding Pro Facebook group. So you might hear me reference some comments and say some names. That's just because I'm looking at the live chat as we're going. And obviously, if you're listening to this on the replay and you want to join the Facebook group, go to fulltimeweddingpro.com. That actually reminds me that this podcast episode and my live streams are all sponsored by myself, my coaching program, Full-Time Wedding Pro. I'm going to do a really quick spiel if you guys want to listen to it, and then we'll continue. Listen, if you guys are wanting to learn branding, pricing, sales, marketing, all the things to grow and scale your wedding business, whether you're just a beginner or you're intermediate, you're part-time, wanting to go full-time, or you're full-time and you want to scale and you want to learn how to do all the things, branding, pricing, marketing, sales-wise, all of that to scale your business up to six figures, multi-six figures, doesn't matter. Sky's the limit. I have a coaching program that can help you. Also, I just launched a done-for-you upgrade where I will literally, it is an upgrade, so it's not free included, but if you join the coaching program, you have the option to upgrade to done-for-you services where I will literally set up ad campaigns for you, help you create content, so on and so forth, so it takes a lot of the pressure off of your plate, all right? So if you guys are interested, go to fulltimeweddingpro.com. You can book a call with me. We'll talk about it, or if you're interested and you're watching this live right now in the Facebook group, comment, reach out. I will shoot you a message, and I'll give you the link to schedule a phone call with me. There's no obligation. It's a 30-minute chat. We'll just talk about business, life. I'll give you the offer if you're interested, and if not, I'll just point you in a different direction. So that's pretty much it. Let's go ahead and dive into the topic of today's podcast episode and live stream, which is how to completely transform your business and honestly your life with just one small thing. So again, if you're watching this in the Facebook group, shoot me some comments. If you're excited, hit yes and all this stuff so that way we can play to the Facebook group algorithm. And I want to go ahead and just dive straight into what we're talking about. So I'm sure all of you guys are wondering, if you're listening or watching this live, what is this one thing, right, that you can do that will completely transform your business and your life? What is that one thing? I'm just going to go ahead and give it to you, all right? It's called free content, all right? Free fucking content, okay? That's the entire... You could turn off the episode right now. Like it is, I'm centering this whole thing around free content. And I know like some of you probably are scratching your head. You're like, what? Did I just tune into a podcast live stream just to be told that I need to shoot for free? Yeah, you did. And I'm going to give you my arguments as to why I think if you do free shoots, if you do literally, what am I trying to say here? If you create content that you are not being paid for and you do it consistently, you can completely and radically change your business in your life, okay? And I sort of knew this before I dove in and I really like saw it for myself because, you know, with one of my best friends, Hannah, like she used to host styled shoots all the time. So I was always at these styled shoots. That's where I've met a lot of my friends who are also photographers. I've networked a lot. And obviously for everybody who's wondering what the hell I was doing in Iceland for the last week, I was there for a workshop. We shot 2 elopements. There was 10 photographers and filmmakers, some of the most amazing people, I swear to God, I've ever met in my entire life. And I came back from that trip with lifelong best friends. And the images... Y'all, come on. If you haven't seen them, go to my Instagram at Peyton Helm. They're freaking killer. Like we went up on a glacier. We went under a waterfall. We were on the Black Sand Beach. We did a lot of stuff. Okay. So, and I want to tell you guys a little bit more about my Iceland trip, but it's not just going to be like me, like, oh, I'm so cool. I paid to go to Iceland and take some photos. There's actually reason behind why I'm talking about it. So just stay with me and I promise I'll get there. And then I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to do free content and then how also to use it to optimize your wedding business or elopement business, whether you're a photographer or filmmaker. It will help you in both ways, okay? And I also have a literal direct testimonial from somebody who I met at this workshop. So without further ado, let's dive in. So Iceland, let's talk about that. So my good friend Jeff, who is a wedding filmmaker at Adventure Wedding Films, also he was on the podcast before. I forget which episode it was, but we talked about how to book destination elopements and weddings. He messaged me and he was like, "Yo, we're doing me and my buddy Nick, who's an elopement photographer. We're doing this workshop in Iceland, and it was very expensive, plus the cost of the plane ticket to Iceland, which was also extremely expensive. Plus Iceland, everything is expensive. So this, he was like, yo, if you want a ticket, you're going to be the first person that does it. So he didn't give me a discount or anything. He's not playing favorites, I promise. I paid full price. But he was like, yo, we're doing this thing. It's this date. Do you want to come? And I was like, hell yes. Like, absolutely hell yes. I kind of made it my mission these past 6 months, at the beginning of 2023, is like, if a good opportunity lands in my lap, it's a hell yes from me, no matter what, as long as I have time, which I think is great, a great motto to live by. If it's no in between shit, it's like a thing is either hell yes or hell no, and if it's a hell yes, you do it. So anyway, I paid the retainer, got the plane ticket, and I honestly I met a friend at the workshop who she told me the exact same thing. I was feeling massive imposter syndrome, right? Because this was an elopement based workshop, and I've not shot a lot of elopements. I've shot a lot of big weddings, but I'm wanting to rebrand fully to elopements. And I've not shot a lot of elopements. I've only shot a handful, and then I've only done a handful of workshops, and stouch shoots for elopement work, a lot of which I haven't even posted yet because I've just been so busy. So I had a lot of imposter syndrome, and I was like, it was like right before I left for the airport, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm good enough to be in this crowd of people, like blah, blah, blah. Like, I was, the imposter syndrome was hitting very hard. But I sucked it up, and I was like, I'm going to go, and this is going to be amazing. And you guys, listen, I knew that when I got there, I was going to get great work, right? It's Iceland, right? You don't have to be that talented to make your photos look good if you're in Iceland and you have that pretty of a background. But man, what I wasn't expecting was being locked literally in a hostel with 10 people. It was actually 12 people. It was 12 total, so 11 other people. Man, who are all motivated, and they're positive, and they're all working towards the same collective goal. And just being forced to spend literally 24 hours a day with all these people, it was completely life-changing. It was energy altering. Like I said, I came back with lifelong friends. I made these amazing connections. We bounced off each other. Like they helped me with some things. I helped them with some things. And so on and so forth. It was just absolutely incredible. And then obviously the images were amazing. Word of the wise, if y'all ever go to Iceland and you do all these things, please pack warm and pack waterproof, because it rained and it was freezing cold, and we were all miserable for a little bit of the trip while it was raining. So anyway, the point of what all I'm saying here is the fact that I went, the fact that I got those images. I came back with my life changed in two different ways. Okay, number one, I've always wanted to book elopements in Iceland, but I've never had work from Iceland, okay? So that changed, and now I have a swarm of content that I can use to create all types of things to market for. I'm going to give you guys some free sauce. If you want to book weddings or elopements in places that you've never been before and you have some work there, or really just in general, if you want to book weddings and elopements, you need to have content. You need to have obviously images that are at that location or at locations that are similar to that location, and then do a whole lot of research on that location. So that way you can kind of paint yourself as the expert. But then you need to have images. If you're a videographer, you need to have video. You need to, have enough content to make blog posts about. If you want to do lead magnets, that's a thing you can do, and create reels, all kinds of stuff. Like these are all the things that I've talked about before on how to book more weddings and elopements. So the biggest thing for me is I've not done a lot of elopements. I've done destination weddings, so I know how to travel, I know how to shoot and all that stuff in other locations except for the East Coast of the United States. But this was the first time that I'm actually saying, like, yes, I've been to Iceland. I know where to go. I know how to book an Airbnb. I know how the flights work. I know where to take couples. I know what time of day that we need to go places. I know what the weather's like. I know all these things. I know the laws, like literally just from this week-long trip. I know all of these things. So now I am in a much better situation to book elopements in Iceland than anybody else who's not gone. Like, and I was telling the group this, out of our group of 12 people, I don't know anybody else in my personal life who's shot on a glacier in Iceland. like if you go to these places and you actually take the money, you invest it, you go to a good workshop, it will literally completely change your life. So that's one area. This, I don't even know how much money I spent. It was a few $1,000s total. That investment is going to pay off substantially. I don't even know how much money in elopements I can make over the next 5 or 10 years, but I know for sure I just booked one and I'm completely paid for in profit, and it was all worth it. So the second thing that I came back with was like I said, lifelong friendships, but more importantly, connections with people who are on the same path I'm on. Some people are a little bit earlier in the process. Some people are a little bit later in the process. I got to learn and I got to teach. And we were, like I said, locked in a room. Not necessarily locked in the room, like we went places, but like, we always came back to the same hostel every night for 4 days. And we got to connect and we got to share experiences, share knowledge, show each other how we do things and how things are different. We got to talk a lot. So that was absolutely monumental. I came back with so much knowledge. I learned so many things I hadn't learned previously. And those are the two main benefits of my trip to Iceland. So enough talking about myself. I want to show you guys a few of the benefits on what free content can do for you. And then I want to show you how you can actually move to get more free content. So if that sounds good, you guys are listening to this in the Facebook group, hit me with a yes. And if you have any questions, like I said, hit me with a question. I'm going to get a drink of water and then we will keep going. So let's talk first about the benefits of having free content or choosing to shoot content for free. Now, when I say content, what I mean specifically, if we're wedding photographers, filmmakers, or whether you do weddings or elopements, doesn't matter. It is literally pretty much just shooting a wedding or elopement for free. Now, it doesn't have to be a full wedding. It can be a workshop. It could be a model call. There's different things you can do. But free content is pretty much just where like you're not being paid, or in some cases you are paying to get this free content. Now, obviously, there's a few obvious benefits, okay? The most obvious benefit is you have more content, right? That's undoubtedly the biggest benefit of having free content and choosing to make content for free. So you have more content. Obviously, that will help you in so many areas of your marketing that you probably have not even thought about before, all right? But the obvious ones is you have more things to post on Instagram. You have more social proof. You have more leverage and authority, and couples will trust you more because you have more content, okay? You can use that content to write blog posts. You can use that content to make reels with, to make ads with, YouTube videos with if you want to. Like so many things. Podcast episodes if you want to do podcasts. Like there's so many things that you can do with more content, and it's always good to have more content. One of the biggest things that I hear from people who come to me for coaching is they're like, I want to do social media and all this stuff because social media is something I teach in the program. But they're like, I've only shot 1 or 2 weddings and I don't have enough things to post. And I'm like, okay, so go out and get content. Like if you don't have the content to get booked and you can't get booked to get the content, then go make free content. It's pretty simple, all right? But a lot of people, in my experience, don't want to hear that. So that's why I'm making this podcast episode, because I want to encourage all of you to get free content, okay? So let's keep going. More content, obviously, is better for everything, right? Now, let's talk about one more thing, which is it improves your skills, okay? Especially if you start going to places that you've never been before. It improves your skills and your knowledge on how to shoot. If you do a workshop or a styled shoot at a venue that you've never been before, or like in my case, a country you've never been to before, you now not only have more content and better work, but you are improving your shooting style. You're improving your editing, the more reps you're getting in, and you're improving your knowledge of the area that you're working in, whether it's a venue or it's a whole nother country or it's a state or a mountaintop, doesn't matter. Like wherever you're shooting, you're getting improved skills is what I'm saying. So that's another benefit. Another benefit I wrote down, I'm looking at my little notepad here, is that you get work in new locations. And that's obviously a big thing that I was talking about with Iceland, is when you travel to another country or you're at a venue you've never been to before or some destination location, or even really just like places in your area that you've never shot before, you're getting work in new locations that you might not have been able to book from there. Now, I know that I've talked about before in my marketing that you can book elopements and weddings in locations that you've not been before, and that is still true, okay? Like I see people all the time, they're booking weddings in locations that they've never been before. But usually you need to have some sort of baseline, right? If you're just a brand new photographer and you've not worked in a lot of locations and you're saying like, you've only done a handful of weddings and you're saying, oh, I'm a destination wedding photographer, blah, 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 you're probably not going to get booked in a whole bunch of these other locations for any meaningful price point, because the couples that have a budget to spend $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 on a destination photographer, they're not going to go for somebody who has never been there before before, or has not traveled a lot. So you kind of need to get the reps in first before you start looking at other places to book. Venues are different, okay? Places in your hometown or near you, it's a little bit different, right? But a big thing about going to these workshops and doing these things like this and doing model calls is you get locations in your portfolio that you've never been to before, and that will help you book more in those locations. All right, so that's another thing. A huge thing too, like I was just talking about with Iceland, is you get friendship and you get to connect with people who are like-minded. And I don't know if you guys have ever really experienced this before, and it's something that I can speak on, but it's never like, you're not going to be able to fully get it unless you actually do it. But it's the fact that you become like 98% of the people that you spend your time with, okay? So if you're spending a lot of time, you have a lot of friends who just bring you down and they're not like on the same level as you as far as like their vision for their lives or their hobbies, then they're going to bring you down to their level. But vice versa, if you surround yourself with people who are amazing and they're like-minded and they have the same goals as you and they have the same positive habits as you, or they have maybe habits that you don't have yet, but you want to up-level yourself to be at that level, then you will start becoming like those people. And I saw this firsthand in Iceland, being with all these people who are like-minded. They're all positive. They're energetic. They're working towards the same goal as me. Some of them, like I said, farther along in the journey than me. Some of them not as far. It was like a breath of fresh air, honestly. And I'm not saying my current friend group is bad. It's definitely not. But being like forced to be with these people for a week straight, it was absolutely insanely life-changing for my mental health, but then also for my energy and the things that I put out in the universe. So it was, like I said, absolutely incredible. And if you can be around a group of people like that for an extended period of time, several days a week, it will completely change everything that you think about yourself, about your work, about your business. And I love it. And that's kind of why I want to start doing my own workshops. Now, obviously, if you guys didn't know, I am actually speaking at a workshop in Italy, in Lake Como, Italy in August. It's from Alex Ma. So if you're a filmmaker, even a photographer, but this is going to be a little bit more filmmaker centric, and you want to get more information about the Italy workshop, I think he's still selling tickets. So feel free to just shoot me a message on here or on Facebook or on Instagram. And I'll give you the details for that as well. But you don't have to go, obviously. But anyway, it's having these workshops like this and being around a lot of people in these levels, it will completely change your energy, and it's for the better. So that's another huge benefit of moving to create free content, specifically in a group setting. Okay, now a huge thing that not a lot of people talk about is, especially if you go to styled shoots, you get vendor and venue connections. Okay. Back when I used to co-host styled shoots with Hannah and we would bring people on, we would always, like all of the photographers that came in, they would get to meet the venue. Sometimes they would get to meet the other vendors. They were able to tag them on social media. They were able to talk to them. And we've seen a lot of photographers get booked directly from posting those images at the venue, or the venue falls in love with the photographers or whatever, and they get put on their preferred vendor list. That's happened to me before. So this, hosting styled shoots or going to styled shoots, that will connect you with vendors and venues. I actually have a whole video on how to do this specifically for vendor and venue connections in the Full-Time Wedding Pro video course. So if you want to look at the coaching program, that's another thing that you can learn. And then lastly, the thing I have on the benefit list here is just higher quality content, right? Because sometimes, especially if you're new and you're not getting booked at maybe the venues that you want to shoot at, like if you're brand new and you're shooting at barns, but you want to shoot at castles, it might be a little hard to attract those castle couples if you're shooting at barns still. So in that case, you would want to seek out a styled shoot or a workshop or whatever that is taking place at the types of venues that you want to work at. That's exactly what I did with Iceland. I've never shot on a glacier before or on a black sand beach, and I wanted to, so that's why I went. It up-leveled my my quality of my work. So those are all the benefits. Now I want to get into how to actually find and get this free content. If you guys are good with that, you have any questions, drop it in the chat and I'll host a Q&A after this, okay? So this part will be pretty quick because there's only really a few ways that you can do this. There are ways to do this right and there are ways to do this wrong. So I'm gonna explain those now. So a big thing that is very popular, specifically in the photography industry, less so in filmmaking, but I think it will be a little bit more popular as time goes on, is are styled shoots. Okay, so like I said, I used to co-host styled shoots with Hannah. And we did that a lot in 2021, 2022. She's not doing them anymore, and I've not really had the drive to do them myself either because they were very stressful. But styled shoots are one thing that you can do. There's several Facebook groups that you can join. We actually have one called Styled Shoots Eastern US, but you can do styled shoots across America is a really popular one. Those are the only two I know, I'm sorry. But you could join these Facebook groups, and there's people all over the place, and they're like, selling tickets for $80, $100, $200, $400, doesn't matter. One thing I will say, and please hear me, is if you are considering paying your own money to buy a ticket to a styled shoot, please, please, please do your research and be careful, okay? Because I have seen countless horror stories from people, photographers, filmmakers buying tickets to styled shoots, and it's not where they were promised, and they had a really bad experience, and so on and so forth. So please, please, please be careful with that. It is worth it to spend more money on someone who is more reputable. Okay, I will just say that. Make sure that they have reviews. Make sure that they're not out there scamming people, and all these things, because a lot can go wrong with styled shoots, and if there's one bad experience one time from one person, it's probably not a huge deal. But if it's consistent, just be careful, okay? I've definitely bought styled shoot tickets to styled shoots that were not as promised. And then I've also bought tickets to styled shoots that were absolutely fucking incredible. Now I will say, I'm gonna shamelessly plug Jeff and Nick. If you guys are interested in getting elopement work, international elopement work, then the elopementphotographerexperience.com, that's the workshop that I just went to in Iceland. They're amazing, okay? They are absolutely freaking incredible. They are expensive, all right? You're going to be spending a few $1,000s to go, but your meals are covered, your stay is covered. The only thing they don't cover is your flight. And if you get like drinks at a bar or something, which we did a lot of in Iceland. So, just be aware that and they're not the only ones. There are a lot of other workshops and retreats and everything that are great. So my first recommendation for you guys is to buy a ticket to a styled shoot, to a workshop, or to a retreat. They're mostly the same thing, but styled shoots are usually more venue focused, and they're one day. Workshops usually have some education built in. That's what the Iceland one was. And then retreats, I think workshops and retreats kind of go hand in hand, but retreats are a little bit more like week-long type expeditions and all this stuff. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know the difference between the two, but I know there's just two different words that people refer to them differently. So styled shoots, workshops, retreats, those are good. Also, you can host them yourself, okay? And if you know how, you can host them. Please be aware they are very stressful. And please also do not just host them to make money, okay? Because I promise you they are a lot more expensive than you think. And you probably will not make much money off of them if you try to do it for profit. So don't do that. If you host your own and you decide to sell tickets to it, break even, make a little bit of profit for your time if you want to, but don't do it to make money, because that's how a lot of people get in trouble, because then they cut corners and it's not a good experience for anyone. And then sometimes I've also seen them get like pressed for refunds, and it's not good. Okay, so if you decide to host your own, go for it. It's really fun. It is a little bit stressful. But like I said, just be aware of scams, don't be hurt, and just do your research. So the next one down the list on how to get free content is to second shoot or associate shoot. So this kind of is necessarily free content. It is more so getting paid to do this. But if you need some work and you need some work fast, then start reaching out to people that you know, start reaching out to other photographers in your area or photographers who are in other locations that you want to travel to, and offer to either second shoot for them, associate shoot for them, or shoot for free for them. Yes, I said it, shoot for free for them and pay for your travel to go, okay? As long as you are not costing them any money, it is going to be very hard for them to say no. Okay. And I know this because I've done this. Well, I've had people reach out to me and do this for me, or offer. I can't talk right now. Y'all know what I'm saying. And obviously I second shoot for people sometimes as well. If they're friends and if they need somebody, I'm there for them and all this stuff. So it's totally okay to second shoot, associate shoot. Just make sure you're doing it for somebody that you know is going to be able to teach you these things. And then also, if you're doing this for portfolio reasons, please make sure that you are allowed to use the images. Otherwise, it is not worth it. So just be aware of that. And then finally, offer free shoots or model calls. Now, a free shoot is a little bit different than a model call. I'll break down the difference. A model call is, say if you want to do an elopement, for example, like a fake elopement, then you would find a couple. Also, please make sure they're a couple, because two single models are not going to have the same type of energy. Find a couple. Get a dress for the girl, get a suit for the guy. You'll probably have to rent them. That's okay. And go out to a beautiful location, whether it's a venue, you might have to ask for permission for that, obviously. If it's a mountaintop or whatever, get a permit, make sure you're allowed to be there, and then just do a free shoot and then use that, for your portfolio. And then if you want to, you can bring on a friend or whatever, it doesn't matter. This is pretty easy. And honestly, if you reach out to bridal shops and all this stuff, a lot of them are willing to give you either a discount on a rental, or they're willing to just let you take the suit and the dress for free temporarily, as long as you return it, obviously. And then obviously if you tag them in the post, don't expect that. Most of them are still going to charge you, and that's okay, because you're doing a service for them, and they're doing a service for you. So it's okay to spend a little bit of money here. Now, a free shoot is a little bit different, and this is where I want you guys to be a little bit careful, okay? Because I got a little roasted in a Facebook group here recently because I was talking about this and people took it out of context and it was not what I meant. So when I say free shoots, it is totally okay and totally ethical, hear me out, to offer to do a wedding or an elopement for free for someone or at travel cost. That is okay. And don't let anybody tell you it's not okay. This is your business. You're running it the way that you want to, okay? Now, a lot of people are going to say, nope, that's not ethical, because then you're taking business away from the people who are charging and all this stuff. And honestly, it's not true, for the reason specifically that a couple who is wanting to hire someone for free is not going to be the same couple who pays $5,000 or $10,000 for a destination elopement photographer. So please be aware that if you are offering things for free once or twice in your life, it's not going to be taking business away from people who might need it. Don't fall into that trap of thinking. Please don't have a limited mindset on that. There's enough work for everyone to go around. Okay. So what I want you guys to be careful here is don't do this too much, because you don't want to be spending all your time doing free shoots. Okay. I want you guys to get paid for this. All right. And this goes for styled shoots, workshops, retreats, all this stuff. Okay. Now I will say all of the successful photographers and filmmakers I know, and I define success meaning they're full-time, they're happy, they're hitting their goals and so on. They all do free content, all of them, every single one I've met. So there is, a common denominator here, right? The more content you have, typically, if you're working smart, you're working hard, you know how to brand and market, the more work you're going to be getting. So you can use this content to continuously book more and more. All right. And like I said, I have a testimonial from somebody I met in Iceland. He's a wedding videographer, and he's in the UK. He's amazing, by the way. And if you're listening, you know who you are, and I love you to death. He has only shot a handful of weddings. I think he told us it was like 3 or 4 weddings, but he has gone to a lot of styled shoots and done fake videos, right? And he told us that after 3 weddings and several styled shoots, he's booked 25 weddings because of the portfolio that he has built mostly for free. All right. So hear that and understand that. If you need more content to post on Instagram, if you need content for ads, if you need content for blog posts, lead magnets, whatever you have, right? Or just to build your brand up, don't be afraid to shoot for free. Please do not be one of these people that are entitled and they're like, I'm not going to shoot for free. I'm going to wait till somebody comes to me, because that's not how you run a business. All right. We all need to be doing free content. And like I said, most of the successful photographers, every successful photographer I know has done free content at one point, or consistently does it as well. So my friends, that's my spiel for today. That's the podcast episode. If you have questions, I know there's only a few of you guys watching this on the Facebook group, so if there's no questions, that's totally fine. But if you have questions, drop them in the chat right now. If not, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys another pitch for Full-Time Wedding Pro. Listen, if you are part-time, or even if you're full-time, whether you're a wedding photographer or filmmaker, or an elopement photographer or filmmaker, doesn't matter. You want to learn how to book more weddings. If you want to learn how to up your branding, your pricing, your sales, strategies and numbers and all that stuff, and you want to learn from somebody who's done it all and can help you along in the process, go to fulltimeweddingpro.com and book a call with me. Also, if you're interested in my new Done For You upgrade, I will literally go through, optimize your branding for you. I will create ad campaigns for you, and I will show you how to manage them and give you weekly coaching to make sure that they are still working correctly. 3 months, 6 months, a year down the line, you've got unlimited support from me. That is my promise to you. Let's see. Caitlin said, I've booked 3 weddings just from one style shoot at a venue, just for the sole fact I shot at that venue. Exactly. Right? It's not a question, but I appreciate the testimonial, Caitlin. So let's see, you're saying it. You know what I mean? Douglas said, signed up a while ago, but I need my sign-in info. Douglas, shoot me a message. I got you. No worries there, my friend, on Facebook or Instagram. I got you. Any other questions regarding the free content stuff that we talked about right now on tonight's episode? Please let me know. And like I said, guys, if you want more information on the Full-Time Wedding Pro coaching program or our done-for-you marketing upgrade, just go to fulltimeweddingpro.com and book a call with me. It's a 30-minute call. We'll meet over Zoom, and no pressure. Like, I'm not going to make you sign up on there. I'm not a hard salesperson. We'll just talk, you know, and if you're a good fit, great. If not, that's fine. Don't matter to me. Any other questions before I sign off? I'll stay on for just one more second. Also, if you guys are listening to this on the podcast, please feel free to leave me a rating and review. That will help the podcast reach more people. And also, if you want to, post it on your story and tag me at Peyton Helm on Instagram, and I'll shout you out. Not shoot you out. I will shout you out. All right, I'm not seeing any more comments or questions, so I will let you guys go. Thank you for listening and watching this episode of the podcast episode. I will be creating a lot more. I'm sorry I took about a 6-month hiatus. I've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes, getting a lot more students in the program. I've been revamping the program, so it's been a lot. It's been a while, but I'm back. I'm ready to make more free content for you guys, and we're good. So if y'all want more from me, subscribe to me on the podcast. Go to Instagram and follow me at Peyton Helm, or join the Full-Time Wedding Pro Facebook group at fulltimeweddingpro.com. Okay, I'm out. I love you guys. I will talk to you later. Thank you all for joining, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Goodbye, guys.